Okay, today we got Siggi with us today. This is Gavin. We're going to do a show on everything, everything Bitcoin, everything BSV Association, and the man behind, really the man behind bringing the scalable version of Bitcoin to the world. I mean, obviously you have a team behind you and other people really pushing, but it seems like you're the one really like heading the project from the tech side. So, hey, man, it's nice to meet you for the first time.
Nice to meet you too. Very nice.
And I had some shows with Babbage over the week last week, and it helped me understand more about the what's really going on with this scaling Bitcoin. It's like the way I understand it now, it's a little bit more of an understanding, very small, but it's that the Teranode is going to be that's like the way I think Babbitt described it, it's like that is the oil at the refinery. If you're talking
Yeah.
about oil to gasoline, right? That's
I
like
was
the
listening in. I was listening
you
into that
were,
one. An X
yeah.
space. Yeah,
That
yeah,
was a
yeah.
good, it was a good explanation.
Yeah.
He's like, it's like the oil at the
Yes.
refinery, Terranode, and what they're doing. That oil is absolutely important, but it's got to get refined down to the gasoline. And that's
Yes.
what we're doing. We're down here at the gasoline level and we're making sure that all of it works.
Yeah.
And and so, it make a lot more sense for me, from a basic perspective on that. So yeah, what can you tell us about yourself and the project, please?
I don't like talking about myself, but I try to tell you a little bit. Let me tell you about. I've been in software development since the '90s. Started, first companies before the dot-com bubble burst, and tried to join that. Had a mobile startup with some mobile applications that fell through at the last moment. Got into other business, started another company that was sold to a corporate, and then in 2013, after maybe 15 years of programming, got introduced to Bitcoin. I think my brother actually introduced me, Oli, who's doing provisioning in the BSVA. He's taking care of all the seed servers and the seed nodes at the association, and just fell in love. It was the most amazing thing. He's like, "What is this? It's like magic internet money." And then you dig into it, and you get deeper and deeper and deeper, and you just find out this is so amazing, bloody amazing technology. It's just more and more layers and the scripting language. And so this there was, I think it was 2013. My mind was blown. But I was still working a corporate job. And so I didn't get the chance until about 2019. I started building some applications. We worked with Luke Rohanes from Tonic Pow. Really enjoyed that. Learned a lot from him. And worked with the guys in Austin from Tonic Pow as well. Started building some real stuff. And then joined the association, I think now about 3 or 4 years ago. 3 years ago, I think built the first version of Arc. And after that, we started on Teranode. So very, very long history of software development and leading teams. Been CTO and lots of other, team manager, project manager, all these things. And now I'm doing all those things on Teranode as well. Unfortunately, I've been I think I have now. I have a lot of labels on, on me, like architect, project lead, CTO, Teranode director, all these things. But I don't believe in any of that stuff. So we're working together. So they're always telling me that I am leading the project, the team, but I always look at it as we're working as a team and everybody has their input and we're trying to be very self-organized. So everybody has a voice, everybody's an input, but it's very, very merit based. So I don't like hierarchies and things like that. So we're working as a team. I think we have about 16 people now linked to the project that are working, and we're trying to wrap it up, dot the i's and square, and square the what is it? Square the t? No, yeah, dot the i's and square the t's to be able to bring it to the world. And very soon we'll make it source available. I've been told not to call it open source because we are going to be following the OpenBSV license. So it's source available, and we will be making it very easy for people to run it themselves. We use some Docker images and some Docker things. So we have a little test net that we're working on ourselves, and we'll invite people very shortly to join us.
Wow. So thank you, Siggy. What there's just to put these things into perspective here, there is I watched a guy from the Senate today, and he was actually the author of the Clarity Act. And
Mm.
he talked about how in the Clarity Act, what they're actually doing is they're refining the laws to enable what people, right now they're thinking that cryptocurrency, it's like, no, it's really not about that. It's about refining the rails. He literally, I think he even used the word rails, the payment rails for the money system. And it's about sending them in stable coins. This is what he's literally saying this today. And that's what the Clarity Act is doing with this mature blockchain system. And I mean, I don't know if you, maybe if you do, but I mean, or not, but I mean, if you have any idea about how big this actually is, because this is the project that is going to perfectly fit in like a glove to
Yeah.
that regulatory compliant blockchain payment rails project, the mature blockchain, as I'm reading it. I mean, it's almost like this act was written for this project, but it's almost like, whoa, don't, but at the same time, just don't talk about it yet, not too soon. Let's keep it quiet. I mean,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
So I do believe we're operating a little bit under the radar. So there's a lot of people that know what we're doing, but I'm on that Jameson Lock ban list on X. So with about 3,000 other people. So most of the stuff that we post, those guys are not seeing. So yeah, we're still under the radar. But you're absolutely right. I think the Clarity Act seems to be written for this and what we're doing. Um, but we still have to be a little bit careful because there's big powers out there that have a lot of money that are lobbying very, very hard. So we are a very, very small fish in the pond compared to, the Coinbases and the Krakens and the Copas and they're all, they have big budgets lobbying in the Senate. Um, so we'll have to see. I don't know where it's going to go. I think we are doing exactly what they want to do. We're creating a utility blockchain. We'll be able to do these stable coins. I believe we have the only blockchain that is going to be able to support all of this stuff at scale. So if you look at it from pure technological perspective, but also from economic incentive perspective in the chain, this is the only solution. We are going to win. But is it going to take a year, 5 years, 10 years? Is it going to take 20 years? We were talking about this just before we started the recording. For BTC to be sustainable with all the halvings, it has to eclipse the global GDP in the next 20 years to keep on being sustainable. So I don't think that's just insane. If anybody thinks that actually is going to work, that's crazy. Um, that's why you have to have this, transaction fees, just like Satoshi talked about a long time ago. That you need a scalable blockchain, and that's exactly what we're building. So 1, 5, 10 years, I don't know, but this is the only technology I've seen so far that's able to do this and actually able to do what the, senators are talking about in the Clarity Act.
So why in a technological sense, why can't the other blockchains do this? Like Ripple, or I mean, these other, what about Solana, these proof of stake blockchains? Why can't they do it?
There's an inherent advantage in proof of work, and I think it's not just about security. In the BTC space, they talk about security. More proof of work is more security, and to a certain extent, that's true because it's very difficult to roll back. Do some secret mining, roll back payments, and double spend somebody. There's a little bit of security in that, but I think that's the less interesting part. The more interesting part is that if you're using proof of work and you have, X amount of nodes that are mining, there is no communication between those nodes because the proof of work is the consensus mechanism. So there's no intercommunication happening between this node. So they can all be processing a million transactions a second, and then one of them finds a block, it'll announce that block. But besides that, there's nothing happening. On something like Solana, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Somebody's going to correct me in the comments. That's fine. Up to half the transactions are like consensus transactions. So it's actually the nodes agreeing with each other. Who is going to get the next block? What's in the block? What are the transactions? Are these transactions valid? All kinds of communications actually between those nodes. We don't have any of that. There's no communication between the nodes. They're complete separate economic actors that are just sharing when the block is found. It's a little bit less black and white than that, but that's where the proof of work is more interesting. So it is proof of work, but it's also you have to rethink how to do this stuff. I think most of the, and I don't know all of them. I think there's like 1,000 blockchains and 30,000 coins or whatever, but it's about 1,000 blockchains. I think ChatGPT told me that some weeks ago. Um, they're all built about the same way as the original software that Satoshi brought out. It's still in BTC, and it's the SV node on BSV and a lot of the other thing. And they're, have a mempool. They're collecting transactions into a mempool. They find a solution to the hash puzzle, create a block, and there might be some optimizations to propagate that block to the rest of the network. But we really ripped that apart, and the way that Teranode works is very different. Kind of threw everything on its head. And that's a big project to do. So if you want to scale to the levels that we scale, you kind of have to rethink everything from the ground up. And I haven't seen anybody do that yet. That's a
And
very
so
long answer to your question.
it is a very long answer. Now, help me when, okay, so I think we people who watch this, they probably agree that scale is the answer. I mean, that is ultimately the answer, scale. So, what,
I've had that challenged actually. There is
oh, you
people
have.
that, yeah, they tell us like, what, why the hell are we talking about scale, Divine? Who cares about scale? We need to get application. We get, yeah, that's also true. But if you're building something on something that's not scalable, you're going to run into trouble. And I think the best example is kind of is the CryptoKitties thing. It's the first thing, CryptoKitties. Yeah, the first thing that very popular in Ethereum and everything blew up. Okay, that's the perfect example of what's going to happen. So you have a stable coin, a US dollar stable coin or euro or pound or whatever. People start using it. The network is clogged up. The fees go up. Do you think anybody's going to accept that? So, of course, it's about scale. You're absolutely right. But I have been challenged on that.
Right. Well, I mean, when it comes to the stablecoin adoption, it's got to be scale. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
imagine us using stablecoins worldwide without scale.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. So,
Yeah.
and in the scaling, what makes it scalable with Teranode? So, what's different about Teranode to make it scale?
So one of the problems with the traditional way the blockchain nodes have been built is, and they're trying to solve that in different ways. But you have in Bitcoin, you have a 10-minute block time. So every 10 minutes, on average, it's a statistical average, you have a block that's found, and that block needs to be shared with the rest of the network. So for like 10 minutes, not a lot happens, and then all of a sudden you have 4 GB blocks. Or in the case of Teranode, we have 120 GB blocks. So you have a 120 GB block that you need to share with the rest of the network. They need to validate it, and so that's very, very expensive. It takes long. It might take 10 minutes to validate the 120 GB block. So the most important thing that we try to do is take that work that is needed to do the block validation and do that in those 10 minutes while we're waiting for the block. So we've kind of ripped everything apart and looked at what are the basic building, but what are we actually doing? So we don't, what is a block? A block is a list of transactions, okay? There's a Merkle tree in there. There are all these concepts in a block. Can we rip that apart and chunk it basically, put it into chunks and process those chunks separately while we're doing these things? And the answer is yes, you can. And we do that with something called subtrees. That's the new concept in Teranode. So about every second, we are sending these subtrees out on the network to the rest of the nodes. They are processing these subtrees, processing the transactions in those subtrees, and then when a block is found, it's basically just a signal to say, "Hey, I found a solution to the hash puzzle, and these are all the subtrees that I include in my block." So the rest of the network already has all the data. So I don't want to go too deep. Let's not make too deep, but it's basically saying instead of doing everything every 10 minutes, this massive amount of work, we're going to spread it out over the 10 minutes. And everything that we are doing in the work in Terranode, and it's very difficult because it's very new and it's very yeah, we have to invent a lot of stuff ourselves because there's no examples for this stuff. But we're trying to do that so it's processing one what is that, 600th, because there's 600 seconds in 10 minutes. Every second we're processing 1/600th of the block, and when the block comes, it's very quickly done. So in Teranode, a 120 gigabyte block is validated in seconds instead of 10 minutes. Does that make sense? Because I think that's a little
A
bit
little
technical.
bit. It is
Yeah.
technical, but it makes a little bit of sense. I mean, I'm thinking so. And is this being done with like AWS, or how is it being, or with that other big company? How's it being done?
So we did the 1 million TPS proof of concept test last year on AWS, and I mean it was very important because AWS allows us to be very flexible in scaling, getting a different machine types, networking, storage, all that kind of thing. So they were very important for us to actually get it done because we were changing things all the time. And the other one you're talking about, I think, is Aerospike.
Aerospike, yeah.
Yeah. Aerospike is basically that's the database, the UTXO database. So it's like the heart of the node. That's where the actual money is. That's where can you spend this or can you not spend it? That's in the Aerospike database. And that's absolutely amazing. That kind of saved our ass um, because it's very fast, it's very scalable, but it's also very safe. And that's very important, especially in a blockchain application. You can't be fuzzy. You can't have like lose a transaction or you lose an output. No, no, none of that. It's very, very good. And we are able now, I think we're doing, we did like about 3 or 4 million database operations per second. There's a number floating around on X that we did 3 million transactions a second. That's not true. It was about 3 or 4 million database operations and 1 million transactions a second. But yeah, those companies were very helpful in getting us there. Um, but it was a hell of a lot. We had to re-architect a lot of the systems many, many times and go back to the drawing board and try to figure things out because getting a blockchain up to a couple of 100,000 TPS is actually not that difficult. That's doable. Getting it up to, I think it was above 800,000 is actually things start break. All kinds of things start to break. That's when it gets hard.
Mm. Wow. And you've already, right, as of now, how you said you've already proven that it does work at a million TPS.
Yeah, we
That was
did
the proof of
last.
concept.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so what is left to what sort of tests are left before you are confident that it's ready to roll out? I mean, what's left to go?
It's all the bad stuff. So if everything goes okay, everything's fine. The million TPS is great. But what if we're talking to another node and the network connection breaks? Or what if one of our disks breaks? Or what if? Those are the things that we're working on now and hardening it we call that in software engineering, call it the unhappy path. So if everything works great, it just, flows and it can do it. But there are ways of making a Teranode hiccup and therefore would do bad things. And we need to plug those holes because those are potentially attack vectors from, bad actors out there that would love to see us fail. And so that's what we're doing now. We're plugging those holes, hardening it, making sure that that doesn't happen. And I'm saying this internally a lot. We're just a bunch of monkeys, and we're trying to do something that's very difficult. So I'm pretty sure we'll leave something in there. But we're doing our utmost best to make it as good as possible.
What are people, what is the public going to notice different about the blockchain when it rolls out? Like what will be able to, without hearing a public announcement, those who are watching the chain, what will we see?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
That's the point. If you see absolutely nothing, we did our job because you don't notice. Because it's basically going to be I think for the next 9 to 12 months, it's going to be working parallel to SV Node. So you're going to have the old one and you're going to have Teranode. And we want to do that as long as possible, just to test it out because it is very new and there's edge cases and there's things that can go wrong, and we just want to make sure that doesn't bring the network down. So you shouldn't notice anything. But what we what we have seen in some of our testing, it's going to benefit in certain areas. It's going to benefit the network at scale. So when the TPS goes up and a lot of transactions are actually happening on the network, Teranode is actually a lot more reliable in propagating those transactions, processing those blocks and everything than SVNode is. So in that sense, when there's not a lot of activity, SVNode is the master, but there is a lot of activity. Teranode is going to be the strong arm. As SVNode is still going to be the arbiter of last resort. So if there's something, a transaction that we validated incorrectly or something goes wrong, we're looking as we know for the next 9 months at least that's leading. But in propagating things, Teranode is actually much better. So what we've seen in some tests in the past is there was, I think it was BitTales, I think, that did like scalability test at the beginning of the year, of end of last year. They were doing about 1,000 TPS on the network, and it worked. It wasn't a big problem, but we actually saw in the nodes that we were running is that the mempool size in the US, Europe, and Asia was very different. And we had never seen that before. That was very interesting. So US, I think most of the transactions were being created in the US. So the US mempools were very big. The Europe was about 25% of that, and the Asian nodes had even less, which means that there is a propagation problem on the old SV node network, which is the same in BTC, which is the same in BCH. It's because of the old peer-to-peer protocol. And whether that is because there are some nodes in between, like people have the Raspberry Pis on, which is never a good idea because you're doing a lot of volume. You don't want this slow thing in between. You want those, fast nodes talking to each other. We don't know that exactly, but we are experimenting with having Terra nodes like next to the SV nodes, and they will be a lot more reliable in propagating these things and make kind of leveling out the network, leveling out the playing field, and making it much more healthier what the miners are actually mining on top of. So and to put it in short, less your transaction will be less likely to get lost when there's a lot of activity on the network. So you're not gonna see a lot of things. Hopefully, that's a good thing. It means it's working.
So what about I mean the actual transaction volume? That's one thing that people see. Will that change, or will it only change by, I mean, demand, or how are we? What about that? I mean, is that
So I mean, I don't think Teranode is gonna change any of that, although we are opening a lot of people's eyes to what's possible. And we're talking to a lot of organizations that get very excited about a possibility of a scalable blockchain. And just through that, we hope that we're going to get a lot more transactions on chain, a lot more activity. And we're talking to, many companies that love to hammer the chain with lots of transactions. And we're working with a couple of them to set up their first projects to do that. So Terranode is not directly going to change anything like that, but the idea that there is a scalable solution out there that will, support these projects when they grow is bringing those projects onto the chain.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, what I think what excites me the most is what's going on with that Clarity Act and the fact that the Genius Act passed. And I don't know if you guys saw that coming or not, because it kind of came out of nowhere for me. I had no idea they were gonna bring this Genius Act, and then all of a sudden the Clarity Act.
Mm.
I mean, the planning that you guys had done couldn't have been. I don't know if it was if some lobbying was going on, because that was like literally that
Very.
Clarity Act is exactly talking about this blockchain. I mean, it's
That's
almost like you guys are rolling this thing out. I mean, it could have gone the other way. I said, no, we're not going to allow stable coins or any of that. But it's like a bet. I don't know if it was Calvin and you guys made that. It was just like, wow. And
we,
it,
we have Brian Doherty from our policy director in the US. He's doing a lot of work working with a lot of governments. So he's doing great work there. So
yeah.
we knew this was coming. We've been known this for quite some time. Um, I don't know how much credit we can take for that because I think there's just a lot of other big forces also that are aligned in the narrative to what we're doing. Whether they can really deliver on the same thing is a second thing, but they want to have stable coins that are free of government control, same that we do. Um, so I don't know if that is actually the case, but I do know that in Europe there was a act in preparation that was going to ban proof of work.
Hmm. Okay, back on the record. Sorry for the delay there.
Oh, no worries. So I'll say so we almost got proof of work banned by the European Union in Europe. And the reason is that you have something like BTC that's using this massive amount of hash power for 7 transactions a second, most of the time less. But we at the association managed to lobby some politicians in there and show what we are actually doing and show that, you can do 1,000 TPS with much less hash like we're doing. So it's very environmentally friendly. So proof of work is actually not a problem if you have a scalable utility blockchain. And that went through. So the European Union didn't ban that. So I know that we were very close to that
Oh,
to that work. So that's the kind of work that's happening in the background, and it's very. Uh, I don't think we talk about that enough. So there's a lot of great people working very hard in the background making all this happen, and we have a fantastic team at the association of very passionate people that really believe in this technology and really working very hard to make this a success. They don't want to be in front of the camera. I don't want to be in front of the camera either, but I'm in a position now that I'm being asked to and I have to. So it's okay. I'll sacrifice myself for the greater good. But just there's a lot of people working very hard, and we all have good intentions. And I don't know, we probably not talked about that, but we changed the so when I took over the association to the house, so my brother is the managing director. We very consciously changed the association into a purpose-driven organization. So we're not that much. We're focused on our purpose is to bring the world this blockchain technology and build it out. And the technology that's what we embody. That's what we're doing. And there's no room for ego. There's no room for politics. There's no room for infighting or anything like that. And so we've been cleaning that up, and we got a very strong team now that's all focused on that and is very, very strict on we need to get this technology out there.
that. So you're saying that someone successfully was able to lobby the legislature there in the UK, the European Union, was it,
The
or
European
the
Union, European Union,
European
yes.
Union
Yeah.
to prevent them from banning proof of work, which would have shut down all Bitcoin, I guess, operation in the UK. I mean, it would have been
Yeah.
catastrophic.
Would have been
So
catastrophic, yes.
yeah, and so that you guys were successful at doing that because they were looking at just at BTC. It sounds like, and they thought how inefficient this is.
Yes.
Wow, that's huge news. I never even heard that. I don't remember that being talked about anywhere.
No,
So
exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff happening in the background, and maybe we don't talk about this stuff enough ourselves because this is just what we do. This is what we're working on, and yeah, we should talk about this stuff more.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a huge victory to have that
Yes,
have that happen.
absolutely.
I mean, and then there's the other. There's another. I don't know if it's European Union or UK. There's another one about. There's another law out there about stable coins or coming or Do you know about that or it's
No, no,
active?
no.
Mika. I think it's Mika,
Yeah,
but
The Mika Financial Act in the European Union. Yeah,
yeah.
that's coming. So we're working very hard on that as well. We have to. I think most blockchains have to hand in a Mika white paper and describe what they're doing. So we're working on that now, finalizing that. So we're gonna send that across. And that's a very important legislation also for stablecoins, because any stablecoin or any financial transaction has to be Mika compliant. So the guys at M&E Money, the MNEE, the US dollar stablecoin, they also have to be compliant to the Mika regulations. And we're not afraid of any of this stuff because this is fine. We kind of expected this. We live in a world of laws. We don't live in anarchy. And so the politicians that we vote for are going to come up with these things and they're going to regulate things, and we're just trying to be within those regulations because we're not trying to do anything illegal. We want to bring this technology to the world to do some good, but that doesn't mean that we're undermining anything else. I think
No,
it's
not at all. I mean, this is an upgrade. And just like this senator talked about today, what the Clarity Act and what this is doing is it's just it's a major upgrade to the payment rails. I mean, that's ultimately what's going to happen. It's not going to be bringing in cryptocurrency trading. This is upgrading the payment rails to a much faster, more secure network, becoming eventually peer to peer. That's the goal.
that I think network connection dropped again.
Yep, that's my Starlink. So
Ah,
yeah, I got the Starlink out here for now until I get the other system. So it's okay. It's okay, but it's all I can do right now.
yeah, it's nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So well, what else? I mean, what else can we look forward to with Teranode? I mean, it sounds like you're right. You're right there on the verge of it being fully ready.
Yes, yes. We
So
have, yeah, we're wrapping it up. And just plugging the holes. There's this is very complex stuff, very new, and there's just all these edge cases that we need to fix. So we're doing that. So we don't want to deliver something that somebody downloads and immediately doesn't work because there's some edge case. And there's also a lot of crap out there on chain. It's so difficult to actually try to build something for an existing chain because there are so many exceptions driving us crazy. And there's things on the chain that shouldn't be on the chain, but they were validated, 5 years ago or whatever, or 10 years ago, they were there. So we have to validate everything from Genesis up. And so that has been causing us some headaches over the last
hmm.
year, I think about as well.
So we got the London Blockchain Conference coming up. That's looks like the ninth is it the 9th and 10th. It's October. It's middle of October.
I think it's around the 22nd of
Is it
October. I
22nd?
think around that date. Yeah.
Yeah, around the 22nd. Okay, so end of October, London Blockchain. That is something you'll be doing. You have anything planned for that? Is it
I
that
don't
you'll
think we have anything planned because the idea is to be much more open, not to be a BSV specific conference. And I don't think we've planned anything specific now.
all right, but you'll be there, sounds
Yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah, definitely be
So
there.
I'll be there as well. I'm looking forward to it, and I definitely encourage anybody else to go out there to London Blockchain. Find it on X or online and look it up. And there's some going to be some events going on before it as well. And definitely get out there if anybody can. It's going to be great. It's going to be a really,
Absolutely.
I mean, this is a monumental time to go. So and then what about doing like a live show where we could do Q&A either on X or on YouTube? You said you'd be
Yeah,
open to that?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to do that. So let's I'll work on scheduling that with you and we can do a where we could take questions from people as well.
yeah,
You know, I think
yeah, yeah, fun. Yeah.
that'd be a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
there had we I mean I don't think we've been communicating enough over the last couple of years, but we want to change that and we very much want to attack our attackers head on in the sense. So if somebody has questions how difficult it might be, just bring it and we'll tell you what we're doing and how we're doing that.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
usually the
yeah, go ahead.
questions are usually they usually go like this: how do you like being poor? Hey, from the BDC. They say, have fun staying poor. This is
Yeah, but this is something I had a discussion on X a couple of weeks ago with somebody, and I said it kind of hit me. We're playing a different game. We're not in this to be rich. We're in this to change the world. We're trying to do good. We're trying to create something that will transform the world. Think about we have this AI wave tsunami coming. Who's going to tell us what's real, what's not real, who's a human, what are you doing on the internet? If you want any type of security across all these systems, you have to have some, source of truth. You have to have a truth machine. And the only truth machine that we know of that works at scale is a blockchain because you can't go to the bank and get a stamp or a signature for every little thing that you do online. There has to be a different way to do that. So like digital identity at scale with on a blockchain only works on the scalable blockchain. These stable coins, the AI is paying each other, IoT devices interacting and exchanging value. There is only one way to do that. Well, there's one way. There are many ways to do that, but there's just one way to do that on a blockchain, on a scalable blockchain, and that is the most efficient way to do it. This is the best transaction processing machine ever invented. And I was corrected today by somebody that was very interesting. It's the best transaction processing machine between untrusted parties. So if we don't know each other and we want to interact, we want to transact, I want to buy something from you and send you money, we have some financial contract, anything we do, we need somebody, we need trust. So we need a notary, we need a lawyer, we need something to, to verify that trust, or a blockchain. Because that timestamps, you can put a digital signatures. Yeah, so this tsunami that's coming over is that I think there is a huge place for blockchain in that as well. So that's very exciting.
I mean, the hottest thing right now, Siggy, is AI, and
Yeah.
I don't think that people are really wrapping, they're making the connection yet. I mean, you just basically glanced over it, just the AIs talking to each other. But I mean, what is what are your thoughts on that? I mean, how's that going to work? How do you see that happening?
So I think I see there's this almost a rift in our in different groups of people. So you have the age brackets. So and people are still laughing at it because it's making mistakes, it's hallucinating, it's doing stupid things. And then you have other people that you can find them on YouTube. Like Elon Musk is one of those people, and there's some other people talking about that as well. Is this is going to be a tsunami? It's going to be transformative. It's going to completely change the economy. In 10 years, you're not going to recognize the economy anymore. I'm in the latter category. I think it's going to transform everything massively. Even if we can still laugh at all the mistakes that are being happening now, and the videos they oh they have fingers. They don't have 6 fingers anymore. They had that a year ago, but some other things. The videos don't make perfect sense. That's all going to get fixed. It's today it's the worst it's ever going to be. Um, and there's a lot of work still to be done, uh, but it's going to be tsunami.
So here, I'm out here. I saw a post or a banner on one of the flagpoles in downtown, and they said, "Stop AI." And there's a meetup. They're doing hosting meetups every week, and I was like, people are meeting at a coffee shop or whatever. And so I was thinking about going, but I mean, because like I could see the point, but
Yeah.
is there hope for maybe not stopping the AI, but to actually controlling it with the blockchain? Is there a hopeful message that this blockchain can bring to AI?
I think that's probably the only way to stop it. And I don't think we can stop it completely in the sense that it's not going to see. I mean, the same happened when the car was introduced. People complained, protested against cars because it was very dangerous. They wanted horses. So people have been doing this for forever. When you new technology, there's always people are protesting that the world's going to end. But think about it. If this AI is able to create anything, manipulate anything, what's the only thing that is a scalable technology that is not cannot be manipulated at the moment that we know of is it's a blockchain. So if you have a video of a security video of something that happened a year ago, if you didn't pass that on the blockchain, if you don't have this verifiable audit trail of that thing being what said it is, you cannot trust it because AI could have manipulated it and you won't notice. I mean, it's not that good today. A year, 2 years ago, it's going to be able to do that. So any type of security, any type of anything that a company will do for insurance purposes, for instance, that should be put on the blockchain because anything can be manipulated. A database can be manipulated. An Excel sheet can be faked. And we know in a court case some time ago when somebody's claiming to be Satoshi and the documents and the metadata was all faked and there's some stuff came out of that. Think about that in a year's time. Do you think an AI will not be able to clean all that up? You won't notice? Of course. So if you have any documents that you want to be able to prove in 1 or 2 years that we made this agreement, we signed it, or you have something that you created, anything a human being creates, for a photograph, a piece of art, anything, put it on the blockchain because AI is going to be able to replicate it and you cannot prove that it's yours. That's that, and I don't think there's no other technology to do it. Nothing, there's nothing scalable that can do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been using Tree Chat lately, and I'll write things on there. I'll write a blog post, and I'm making it a record of it, and it
Yeah.
goes and it posts right onto the blockchain, and I can go and verify it onto what's on chain, and I
Yeah.
can see the transaction there. I
Yes,
can
exactly.
read what I wrote.
Yes. And you
It's
can prove it in
amazing.
3 years that you wrote that.
I can prove that I wrote that at that time, and
Yes,
that's part of my practice of doing it. It's just like I want to be able to have that record that nobody can say otherwise.
exactly. But think about all the journalists or photographers that go out and they create a photograph of a beautiful scene or something horrific, with the Pulitzer Prize winning photographers. How are they going to prove it's theirs? I mean, today, a lot of the trust that we have in society today is based on absolutely nothing. Pieces of paper and some wet ink on it, or trust, or trust me, bro. I am always amazed that our society works at all because it's so um, based on human beings talking to each other, and it's very easy to fool human beings. And we can put all this stuff on a cheap, scalable blockchain, and then we don't have to worry about it. Then we just have proof. And but also there's this interesting thing is that you can actually have a lot of economic benefit from it as well. Because if you have your audit trail, it's easier to prove things. And for instance, there's companies now, Record, for instance, is doing, I think I love what they're doing, is decreasing insurance premiums for their customers because they have a record, an auditable, verifiable, immutable record of what happened. So the insurance company can say, oh, well, we actually know that you did this or you did do that. That's huge. The amount of industries that could benefit from that. Decreasing your insurance premiums, and if you have a multi-billion dollar corporation, you can decrease your insurance premiums by 20, 25%. That's a lot of money, and the blockchain does not cost that. So there's so many benefits that we haven't really looked at yet. But you mentioned the stablecoin at the beginning. I mean, that's the easiest one, payments.
Definitely. That's my you gotta pause me for a moment. Sorry. Okay. We'll go ahead and back on the record. The stable coins you were saying?
Yeah, so I mean, the payments and stablecoin payments is the easiest use case for a blockchain because they're exchanging value and it's a secure thing. But there is so much more we can do in the insurance industry, but also with forgeries and especially AI. So there's so much more. We haven't even started scratching the surface. And it's like most people in companies, in corporations, they've given up on blockchain. So there's this crypto community. There's all these BTCers. There's this fights on X, and people are happy staying poor. Most people in enterprises, they're not even thinking about any of this stuff because they think
No.
blockchain doesn't work. It's like so there's this the store of value narrative and $2 trillion BTC, and it's great. Everybody making money, and so this is like their digital pet rock that they found that they're going to make some extra money off. But thinking about using it for something useful, that's nobody's thinking about that.
I mean, this is like the bit for me. For me, it just feels like it's like 1994, 1995 again in the internet. And we're just finding out about like the first time we're like at the beginning days of that. And it was like, we figured out how to make the internet work, guys. We're trying to tell everyone about it. They're all calling us crazy. There's no such thing, and there's no need for that. Just quit. You have fun being poor. I feel like that's right where we're at. And then like the 1995s comes, and all of a sudden Windows 95 comes out. All of a sudden, it's all over everywhere, high schools and everything. Where that's like right. I feel like we're right around that period.
Yeah. The only
It's
the only difference here is that might make it a little bit more difficult is that a lot of people are making a lot of money. And so I think we've had the crash, the dot-com crash in if you look at the hype cycle, Gartner hype cycle where we are, I think we're at the bottom somewhere. Nobody's using it for anything. Even BTC has almost no transactions. The mempool is empty. So it's being exchanged on exchanges and ETFs and derivatives and all that stuff, but actually nobody's using any BTCs, even if it's worth 2 trillion. Um, and that's a bit of a problem because now people have dollar signs in their eyes and they can't see anything there. They're blinded by the money, so they can't see the other benefits that it could actually have. in their business, in their real businesses, and actually creating value. Because this is not creating value. This is just inflating something. It's this hot air. There's no actual value being created in society. We're not doing anything more efficiently. We're not doing anything more cheaply. We're not able to deliver products to people in a cheaper way. So there's no value being created here. It's just an inflationary thing. It's a Ponzi.
Siggy, this is incredible, man. I'm really delighted to meet you. Let's cut it there. And I hope that we could do a show again soon, a live show on X. I'll work on scheduling that with you on YouTube and take questions because I really want to know what people have to say and ask some more technical questions as well of you from people. So
Absolutely. Let's do it. Love it.
hey, thanks a million for joining on. Everybody should follow your X account is probably the best way to reach you. It looks like is that just it's underscores, right? Siggy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think somebody else took the Siggi account, so I had to be creative.
Yeah. All
Three
right.
underscores Siggi and three underscores. I think
Three
something's
underscores Siggy, three underscores Siggy. Yeah. The man behind the scalable blockchain, the infinitely the biggest scalable blockchain in the world, right here. At least the bringing it out. So we appreciate you very much, Siggy, what you're doing, and look forward to doing it again. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for having.